Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today at Team Avalos TV where we discuss the latest news on real estate and financing. I'm your host Carlos Avalos with Keller Williams VIP Properties, and today's guest is Martin Rodriguez with Surety Financial. Hi Martin, thank you for joining me today.
Hey Carlos, thank you for having me.
You know, I wanted you to be here today because it's very important to answer some questions, especially for some of my buyers and potential buyers that are undecided whether to buy or not because of what they hear out there. For example, many buyers are telling me it's very difficult to obtain a loan nowadays. What do you need to do in order to qualify? Why are the banks not lending any money? And those are kind of the questions I get on a daily basis. Okay. Can you go in details what do you do when someone comes to you, a potential borrower, and tells you, I want to apply for a loan? What is the guidelines that you do in order to qualify them? Okay,
a lot of pressure on me here. No problem. You know, I think what you're getting at, Carlos, is a lot of people get scared because they hear in the media that banks aren't lending and It's so difficult to get a loan. Is that kind of what you're hearing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So the guidelines have tightened up over the last few years, but that doesn't mean that you can't get a loan. I think that people will find that when they go to some of the bigger institutional banks, the process is very slow moving, it's very frustrating, and that scares some people away.
Absolutely.
Sometimes some of the local, direct lenders and stuff like that will have a little bit more flexibility, but nonetheless, you always have to be able to meet certain guidelines. So let me give you some bullet points. There's 4 key areas that we look for when trying to get somebody qualified for a loan, and I'll walk you through this here. Number 1 is you have to have a minimum credit standard, okay? If you've had a bankruptcy or foreclosure or a short sale, it doesn't mean that you can't buy a home, but it does mean that you have to satisfy certain conditions. There might be a timeline where you have to wait a couple of years. So we have to have a minimum credit standard, and I'm not going to go into those details right now, but just know that, generally speaking, if somebody's got a 640 credit score or higher, we can usually work with that, okay? The next thing is we're going to look at their employment history. We want to make sure the person's had a stable job. Ideally have a continuous employment for about 2 years or more. If they're changing jobs every 2 or 3 months or they're new to their job, there might be other requirements. Again, that by itself does not disqualify a borrower, but what we want to see is usually a 2-year history. The third thing, which is perhaps the biggest area for people, is what we call the debt-to-income ratio. Now, the debt-to-income ratio, Carlos, is a calculation where we're going to look at how much money does the borrower make, what is your monthly income, and what are your current monthly expenses. And we're also going to include the cost of the new house. So if you're buying a $300,000 home, we're going to look at what that mortgage payment is, and then we're going to add on top of that their car payment, their credit card bills, if they have student loans, any kind of credit card debt that they have gets added to that. And that debt ratio has to be below a certain threshold for them to qualify. It's usually about 45% on conventional loans and so forth. And again, we have some flexibility around that. And then the fourth component that we look for really has to do with the appraisal or the property that they're buying, the subject property. We're going to look at how much of a down payment are you doing. Is it a 3% down, a 20% down? Does the property meet the guidelines and the criteria? There are some differences whether the loan is FHA or conventional. But the truth is, we are lending. We are able to do it. You don't have to have perfect credit. You don't have to have 20% down. We have programs that can get you in with as little as a 3% down payment, and it doesn't have to be FHA. So there's a lot of alternatives and stuff like that. So, I hope that answers what you're...
Oh, absolutely. Aside from the conventional loan and the FHA loan, you did mention there's a 3% program. So there is other programs aside from the FHA and conventional that...
Yeah, the 3% down payment requires a 680 credit score, so again, that's a little bit higher. But we have programs that can do 3% down. We have programs with as little as a 5% down with no mortgage insurance. So we have a lot of options. The best advice I can give somebody, Carlos, who's looking to buy, and I know you know this because we work together a lot, is to have them meet with a lender who's going to give them a financial strategy. That's the first thing I do with our clients, is understand what is their budget, what is their strategy, what is the game plan. You want your wife to know how much money she's got in the purse before she goes to the mall, right? Same sort of thing here. We want to know what is the strategy, how much can they afford. Once we've done the pre-qualification and a financial strategy, now they're in a really good position to get in the car with you, look at houses, and get them into escrow. And we should be able to always close those, because if I've done my work right with the client, we will close every single one of those transactions without a problem.
I totally agree with you as far as the loan. I always tell every client, every potential client, everyone I talk to, it's very important that they sit down with the lender prior to showing them houses. For that reason, first of all, we want to know what they qualify for, up to what amount, and if they qualify, and then you can also put a structure for them. What is their game plan, and their motives on buying. And then once we get that loan approved, then we can go and purchase the property, especially in today's real estate. I mean, it's very important that you have all your documents well organized, because I mean, the real estate market is hot. Properties are not lasting on the market. I mean, within 1 week, property will have multiple offers easily. So if you don't have your loan approved, it delays the timing. By the time you get your loan approved, it's not. I mean, the property is not even available anymore.
Right. The market is moving quickly, and we have to do our homework in advance. So I agree.
Well, thank you so much, Martin. I appreciate you being here.
Hey, well, thanks for inviting me. I love what you've done with your studio. This looks great. So
thank you so much. It's all part of our company, Keller Williams VIP Properties. I thank you again. Thank you for watching us, and stay tuned for another Team Avalos Real Estate News. See you soon. Bye-bye.